Shalom, I'm Nama Rue. This is my husband, Rabbi David Rue. And we're continuing to learn about the laws of the Shmita year, the 7th year of the 7-year cycle, when the produce that is grown by Jews within the Holy Land has an innate sanctity to it, just like the food that came from Gan Eden and the Garden of Eden, and also the manna in the desert. It's so special, and it happens every 7th year. What an opportunity. So we have to conduct ourselves with the food differently, as well as with our agriculture. And I've actually been stuck trying to figure out if I can compost during the Shmita year. Can you explain what do we do with the leftovers?
Yes, but won't get to compost yet.
Okay.
So, the Gemara in Pesachim, and in base, I'm in base. The source is below, if you look at the things. Vayisa Shabbos haaretz lechem leochla, and this will be a sabbatical for the land for you to eat. The Gemara then comments on that pasuk, leochla amar Rachman v'lo lahavsid. To eat it, God said, and not to waste it, not to have it go to waste. So there are two ways of looking at this rule. One is it has to do with the kedusha Shmita, that because the fruit is embedded with the sanctity of the Shmita year, therefore we shouldn't waste it. For instance, you shouldn't throw away a Sefer Torah because it has holiness, right? I mean, it should be used. The other way of looking at it is God says, this year the land is mine. He is showing us that the land is his by telling us, this year you're not allowed to use it. The produce of it is his. And he says you can use it in the following ways. You can use it to eat. As long as the wild animals can eat in the field, you can also eat of it. But he's limiting our use to eating it as long as it's food. So, in the Mishpatei Aretz, it says that Hanoheg hu shmiachdim pach miyuchad l'sharei perot shvis. The custom is that we have a special container for the remnants of fruit of the sabbatical year. Ubechol yom machnisim es sharios b'sakis nifredes. And each day we put these into a separate sack because, I'll explain this in a minute. And we put these leftovers until they rot. And after they've rotted, we can throw them in the garbage. Now, it's the very old custom, mentioned many places, that they would have a special vessel, something specially made, generally earthenware, and they would write on it Pach Shmita, the container for Shmita. Now, Pach today in modern Hebrew means garbage. It's the garbage can. So today the suggestion is made we should write on it Kedusha Shvis. It has the sanctity of the Shmita year. This is not implying that what's from Shmita is garbage. But in any case, a special place. Now, there's an additional problem of we're not allowed to cause holy things to be lost, to be destroyed. So if I put today's produce in with yesterday's produce, which is already on the way to going bad, it will speed up the process of rotting today's produce. So that's why Mishpatei Aretz said that these things should be separated day by day. So you fill up your earthenware container every day and you put it in a little sack until it's gone, and then you can dispose of it. However, Rav Eliashiv, also in the same Torah journal, is quoted as saying, Yitachen lomer shegaram hefsid aser afilu l'shitas ha'osrim, that the causing loss of Shmita things indirectly. Rak b'dover she'omed leheachel. This is only true of something that would be eaten. But things that are, in any case, eventually we're going to allow them to rot, or so on. There's no prohibition of making it lost. It's the causing the loss isn't in and itself, but it's failing to fulfill this thing's purpose, this thing's destiny. And if it's a fruit of Shmita, its destiny is to be eaten either by a human or an animal. If it's not, but it's not supposed to be allowed to be destroyed, to be rotten, and so on. Therefore, we should. He's saying, but if it's, for instance, I eat a nectarine, and I eat off all of the fruit that I can off the pit, and there's some fruit left that I just can't get off, no one's ever going to eat that, he's saying. So therefore, putting it with things that have begun to go bad, he doesn't see a problem with. Having said that, the Gaon Rav Chaim Kanievsky in Pirush Shvis writes, "Lechatchilu hayu noagim b'Pirush Shvis la'otvam lahashlicham la'ashba." It originally was that when we were dealing with the fruit of the Shmita year, that we would wrap them up and throw them in the garbage. And in truth, that this is completely permissible halachically. But the generations got better, he said. And we put it in a special thing until it begins to go bad. Now, there are reasons why one might be required to do this today, as not in the past. They didn't have garbage trucks like we do that crush the garbage together. And if you look at the garbage truck dumps out at the dump, the plastic bags are broken open because of the pressure inside the truck. So if you wrap your leftovers from the Shmita year in a plastic bag and throw it in the garbage, chances are when the garbage truck comes and picks it up, it's going to be broken out and put in a not nice thing with the rest of the smelly, dirty, horrible garbage before it itself has rotted to the point that it's no longer a fruit. So therefore, we have become more careful with this, and the minhag, almost every place that I have seen, certainly with people that are careful with the way they keep mitzvahs, is to have some container that they put their leftovers, trimmings. For instance, if you're cutting a bell pepper, you cut as close to the stem as you can so that there's nothing that a human being would normally eat, even though it's animal food. But if there's no human food there, it's much easier to put it aside, and then as soon as it begins to go bad a little bit, then it can be disposed without a problem.
But you're saying, but you have to still put it in a plastic bag before you put it in the trash?
That's certainly what people do with these things.
And I have another quick aside
Just
question.
like as I think we mentioned it before, the talis that's puzzle. It has no kedusha left, but we still don't throw it in the garbage.
We store it forever.
We don't necessarily store it forever. You can wrap it up and so on. And esrog, after it's been used, we don't throw it in the garbage. We wrap it up. We do something with it when we're disposing of it.
So in past times, when they wrapped it before they disposed of it, they didn't have plastic. What were they using? Do we know?
Probably paper or whatever they had. I don't know. They probably were much. I mean, if you want to go back far enough that paper was expensive and other materials were expensive, they probably literally waited until it rotted. I mean, if you go into the old Yerushalmi homes or the old homes in Bnei Brak and so on, of families that lived in Israel for many generations, they all wait until it's rotten and can't be used for anything, until the animals won't touch it.
Keep it in a bowl or some kind of bin until it's rotten, and then dispose of it how?
It could be thrown away at that. Once it's really rotten, and not usable as food anymore, even for an animal, then it has nothing, no kedusha left to it at all.
So you could just leave it outside somewhere.
Yeah, but you can't leave it on the ground where it would fertilize the ground, because fertilizing the ground in the Shmita year is improving the ground, which is one of the things we're not allowed to do.
Okay, so there's really no composting or save it contained until after the Shmita.
If you think of traditional compost things not traditional, but certainly the way people do it, they have a container, they put the compost in the top, and they take it out the bottom. When there's some type of floor on the bottom that prevents it being mixed up with the dirt underneath, it's either some people have poured concrete in large things, or
some screens.
There are plastic ones that people have, all sorts of things like this. In fact, in a container, things compost better because the heat, it helps it heat up, and
right. So I don't have such a good system for compost, but what you're saying is that you can put it in a container for the year, but you're not going to feed it to the ground.
Correct.
Okay. So maybe I do need to get a compost system before Shmita starts and not use it all the way until after Shmita's over. Okay, I gotta figure it out.
All right.
Thanks.